Hi there, and welcome to Season AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. What you're seeing are the pictures, of course, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the man we continue to ask for his release according to the court judgment. We are asking for the federal government to, of course, comply and release him according to what the court judgment said. That's all we're saying. No more. We're not saying anything extra. We're just saying, just for them to comply with that. But in allied to that, of course, there are issues around this Southeast security issues. So you will certainly want that. There are the two are intertwined. Um, I don't know the ins and outs of this situation whereby those who are actually asking people to stay at home and all of that. But one thing I do know is that this is why we talk about the people being aware of their constitutional powers, their rights. And I want to, for the first time, put this in the mix, as it were. Let me show you something. I'll play this and I'll show you the powers that the citizens of the Igbo people have in terms of the constitutional powers to begin to at least begin to hold their governors to account. And then if they so wish to continue, and they can continue to go towards self-determination using those powers. That's what I wanted to talk about. But let's play this. It'll make sense in a minute when I do something. And please do assist when you see the words that that's gonna come up in Igbo language. You can help us make sure it's correct. It's not perfect, but it gives us an idea of what we need to do. Because I believe that our people need to know the constitutional powers that they possess in their languages. So that's why I'm trying to do this. So let us proceed. Now we're going to hear Shewan Kimbaloyi talk to some people in terms of and five governors meeting. You will hear them talk about state security in Southeast. Here we go.
5 states of the region is becoming worrisome, and they have agreed that they will go and see President Tinubu to meet with him. Take a listen to part of what they agreed on. The governor that was there, the governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, spoke. The President General of Ohanese, Chief Emmanuel Nwanyawo, was one of those who led that meeting. Take a listen to what they agreed on.
Okay, let's listen.
We have identified insecurity. That is the problem of Southeast for now, and is at the front burner and must be addressed. Over the years, we've been working with the governors of the region to ensure that this matter is resolved. The federal government in the past have supported, but we think that the federal government can do more. So among other resolutions, we resolved today to make a representation to the president for his intervention to be able to bring the insecurity in the region to an end.
Okay, so that is what they talked about. Now let's hear if there's anything else that was said.
Let's speak with one of the leaders of the political party, one of those, representing the...
Keep in mind, this is from channels.
The national chairman of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, is the newly minted national chairman and perhaps the youngest national chairman in all of the political parties in Nigeria, Sylvester Ezekiel. Thank you so much, national chairman, for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
This is very serious, burner within the polity of the Southeast Nigeria.
How bad are things in terms of security? The sit at home is a major issue, isn't it?
Yes, there are a whole lot of issues, not just the sit at home. At least when you talk about the sit at home, you're talking about the economic implications on the economy of the Southeast. Then there is the issue, which is the major one of the issue of security of lives and property. So there are criminals masquerading as agitators who have hidden in various bushes or forests around the Southeast with the whole notion that they are probably agitating for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And every now and then, they come out, they unleash mayhem on the innocent citizens of Southeast Nigeria.
Now, the thing that I want to be very clear about is this. We need to establish, in my own opinion, my own humble opinion, we need to establish who those who are hurting the citizens under the guise of Biafra or IPOBA. We need to identify them. And I think that's really important, because to just sort of say that all IPOBs are the ones involved in this, I don't know if that's necessarily right. And the pictures that I've been seeing where they've been telling people and everything else that you should sit at home and everything else, it just looks very, I don't know. I'm not too sure. So I think that needs to be established. I'm not necessarily saying that it's that the IPOB is not is not involved at all. But I don't think, to be honest, the messages that I'm getting from IPOB is that they're just for going for self-determination and not sort of enforcing to sit at home. They want the people to make their voices to be heard in that way. So I'm not so sure. I think there is some sort of opportunist actions by state actors in trying to portray those who are saying sit at home to be Biafrans. So we have to be very careful in that area. I can't confirm it 100%, but I think there are some concerns in that area, in my own opinion. But let's carry on.
And we've had track record of wanton kidnappings, killings, at least from, I should say, between 2020 till date. In fact, there have been numerous reports about the number of lives that have been lost. Security men, innocent civilians, so many property bonds, police stations, and what have you. So it's a very serious issue. And I'm very, very happy when you played the video of the meeting of Southeast leaders that was held at the Imo Government Lodge. There is a consensus of opinion around the Southeast, and that reverberates around Nigeria now, that there is need for the presidency or the federal government to wade into this crisis. And one thing that keeps reoccurring is the issue of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
Exactly. This is why I brought the picture up, and I needed you to. This is exactly why that picture was played. So let's carry on.
I will draw an analogy with the biblical injunction that you try and separate the wheat from the chaff. Now, there are so many armed men, non-state actors, camped in various bushes and forests around Southeast, claiming that they are agitators and that they will...
You see, claiming. It's very, very important. They're claiming. Do we have evidence backing what they're saying? How do we know? So that needs to be established. And again, the non-state actors who are pretending to support, to be for the movement, one has to be very careful about that. So that's what I wanted to just state myself. Let's carry on.
Not stop the unrest until Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released. There have been several statements issued in the past. In fact, you will see some faceless group wearing masks saying that whoever you are, once you're a political appointee or a government official around Southeast, if they get you, they're going to eliminate you. Of course, in Anambra State, I think it was in sometime last year, we lost a House of Assembly member who was gruesomely beheaded. So these are among the issues that the Southeast is facing. And I always say one thing, no matter the form or manner of an agitation, once a criminal is in the forest, he has to fend for food. So
where is Ebubo Ago in all of these, in the scheme of things? Because we thought that the Southeast Security Network,
yes,
the Ebubo Ago, was supposed to come as a mitigating factor.
When you say
to clear the bushes of the Southeast region.
When you talk about the Ebubo Ago, you recall that there was really no consensus of opinion around that. Like in Anambra State, we don't have Ebubo Ago.
Or you have the Anambra.
We have the Anambra Vigilante Services.
Yeah.
Now, I can tell you for sure, another issue that is really at the heart of all these things is the issue of policing within the context of the Nigerian Constitution. Because the Ebubo Ago you're talking about, there is a limit to the nature of arms that they can carry. For example, in Anambra State, where we have the Anambra Vigilante Services, the Anambra Vigilante Group, they've really tried as much as possible to try and quell these insecurity issues around Anambra State. And I know that there are similar groups around some other Southeast states. But the problem is the security forces talking about the traditional security forces, the conventional security forces, the police and the armed forces, have really been demoralized in terms of the number of men that they've lost. Because this thing comes more or less in the form of a guerrilla attack. And that's why the consensus of opinion around the Southeast is that since there is a key actor in all of this who is in detention and who purports to be the reason why these criminals have been engaging in the form of criminality that they are doing in the Southeast, that there is need for President Tinubu to intervene by releasing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu so that there can be a serious roundtable discussion around the Southeast.
Isn't there a judicial or a legal question? Because the case is now before the Supreme Court, and the issue of his bail and the termination of the substantive matter before the apex court is there.
If you recall,
wouldn't that be?
If you recall, I did author an open letter to President Tinubu, which was published on some newspaper of this Sunday Sun. I tried to highlight some of these issues because they are very critical to the survival of Southeast economy. Now, if you recall, there was a judgment sometime last year by the Court of Appeal quashing the charges of terrorism that were preferred against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Ordinarily, with the judgment, it means that the next thing is for him to be released because there are no longer any pending charges against him. Now, the next thing that happened was that the federal government, through the office of the AGF, filed an appeal before the Supreme Court and brought an application for the Court of Appeal, the same Court of Appeal that delivered the judgment, asking the Court of Appeal to stay the execution of that judgment. Of course, you have seen some other persons in the past who the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court set free. Once the charges against an accused person is quashed, the next thing is there's absolutely no reason to hold the person. But in this case, there was an application for stay of execution which the Court of Appeal granted. Now, granted that probably forms a basis for the continued detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. But the fact needs to be made, and the point needs to be made, that if not for the appeal and the application to stay the execution which was filed present.
So a stay of execution. Even though the govt were going to release, the government immediately put in a stay of execution to prevent Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from being released. So that's the state of play. Just wanted to pause and highlight that point right there. Here we go. Okay.
Before the Court of Appeal, you probably would have been a free man. So, now, it now brings to a front burner, the issue, because the essence of a prosecution is to really try and find out if someone who has been accused of committing a crime is actually guilty. Now, and what the federal government is expected to do is prosecution, not persecution.
So your own interpretation of the legal scenario playing out in the court is your opinion, but it's within the premise of the court now. And so don't let us argue
it's not really within the premise.
You're giving a premise. We can't argue what just hold on. Okay. We cannot argue what is before the court.
No, let me explain. No, that's the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that whatever is holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is as a result of an appeal filed by the federal government. So if the federal government decides to withdraw the appeal today,
so are you aware that there is a matter before the court that was starting around April or May, and which has now adjourned the sitting
to September,
trying to hear the matter of his bail. So if that matter is before the court, I don't want us to speak in that way. Let us leave it to the court.
The point
so that the court can, if the court grants his bail.
The point we are making is simple. Before that time, because of the need, various stakeholders made this call in the past. They were making the call, even aware of the fact that there are proceedings pending in court. If the federal government decides today that as a matter of urgency to hearken to the calls of various leaders and stakeholders from the Southeast, there are options available. I'm a lawyer. The Office of the Attorney General of the Federation can withdraw the charges preferred against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. There can be
So that is the prayers of the leaders of the region, including Governor Chukwuma Soludo.
Yes.
That
what we've been asking.
Also one of the prayers,
yes.
I mean, because I've spoken to Governor Soludo about it, is that it could be handed over to him in the government house.
That's his request.
So the question is that if the President Tinubu, for example, grant that request, would that douse the tension?
Yes. The most important thing.
You're 100%?
Yes. You know why? Governor Soludo has persistently maintained that we need him on the table because the issue of insecurity in the Southeast is one that calls for serious dialogue from every stakeholder concerned. If you have Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on the table and he comes out to say, okay, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been released. Now, he draws one simple point. Any other person, any other group, no matter the ages, no matter the agitation you say you're doing, once you still remain in the forest or in the bushes, it means you are no longer probably agitating for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Now we label you a pure criminal.
So let me
deal with you decisively.
Let's anchor on this point. I mean, on one hand, the clamor for the release of Nnamdi Kanu.
Yes.
That's one hand.
Yes.
Which there are those who say it might not solve the problem because there are guns already in the hands of some element. Because you have also ascribed the fact that there are criminal elements who are also masquerading as agitators.
Yes.
So how do you clean up the Southeast region? Because all of this scenario had brought this tension in the region. Now, and don't forget, there is a Simon Ekpa.
Yes. These are the issues. These are the issues.
In Finland.
Of course, these are the issues. Because
are you able to control a Simon Ekpa who is giving orders for people to sit at home?
All the orders Simon Ekpa has given are all geared or purportedly geared towards the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu.
There are some IPOB members that are denying that Simon Ekpa is not a leader of their group.
We have.
That is exactly what I've been saying. That when we have to be very careful about what is being said and everything else. So now, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is one thing, and others, and Simon Ekpa is another thing, and all of that. But I have to say I respect how they're trying to do this now, so that if the federal government were to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, then it's easier to now deal with those elements who are purporting to say they're IPOB. And let's not forget, there might be some people who are in government who are using this as a way to actually cause a lot of problems. I don't know. But anyway, you can see why I said we have to be very, one must be clear about that. We have to be very clear about the motives, intentions, and everything else. Let's carry on.
One more powerful who issue statements here and there. But the fact remains that whatever Simon Ekpa is doing, whether rightly or wrongly, as much as possible, I've not come to apportion blames. What I've come to do as a concerned Southeast stakeholder, whatever statement that has been emanated from Simon Ekpa in the past have all been geared towards the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Now, if you release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, ordinarily, you solve that problem. You talked about the cleaning of the Southeast. Now, I can tell you, and I make this call on national TV, it's very, very important. Good thing, while President Tinubu was the governor of Lagos State, he was a champion of true federalism. And I can tell you, because I could recall, as a lawyer who read so many cases bordering on Attorney General of the Lagos State and Attorney General of the Federation, and they all bordered on key issues bordering on federalism in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. One that has kept resurfacing as far as I'm concerned, and I said it in the letter, an open letter I wrote to the President, is the issue of policing. There is no longer any reason why the police should remain in the exclusive legislative list. It is very, very key. There is no way where you wait for someone in Imo State to wait on the IG of police in Abuja to secure. There have been cases. I think I recall an instance where the former governor of Enugu State, Ugwuanyi, as well as the former governor of Benue State, said that they reached out, they got credible intelligence about an imminent attack, and they reached out to security agencies, and nothing could be done. But in this situation, if we have state police like we have in other true federalism, something like the USA, so that in Anambra State, the security agencies that we have are under Anambra State Command, under the control of the state governor of the state, and they are well equipped and armed
right.
to handle this security situation.
All right.
It is very, very important that I call on the National Assembly in this instance to really, really look at serious constitutional amendment to take care of the security issues that is affecting the entire country, not just the Southeast.
Sylvester Ezeokenwa, the national chairman of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA. Thank you so much indeed for your intervention tonight.
Thank
you. I wish the Southeast peace and calm. Thank you so much.
We pray so.
So that is the premise upon which this program is on. We need and encourage the government, federal government, to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And as stated, there are some non-state actors who are also, they may not necessarily be abroad, but they will be at home as well, who will be using this as an opportunity. And like the man said here, if Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released, then at least it now focuses on energy on identifying those who are really causing a lot of problems. And I think it's a good idea. I call on the government to really do the right thing and release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And because I think it would really change the dynamics of things, certainly in the Southeast, and make it more, peaceful in a way. Anyway, what are your thoughts? You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Please go ahead and subscribe to Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Help us reach more people. Subscribe. Hit notification button, and of course give us a thumbs up. Help us reach more people. Let's hear your thoughts and comment on this. It is very, very important that we try to look at things from in full, in its complete picture, and get a better a clearer way ahead. But I trust that with this new dispensation under President Tinubu, they will be looking at how to actually ensure that the government itself complies with its own laws, even though they've now filed for a stay of execution. Not now, they did. And that is really not helping things, not least because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has got health issues. And of course, we all know the case of the legal rendition. That's something that actually should not have happened. So yeah, anyway, what are your thoughts? You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak with the power. We continue to call for the unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So I'm going to show you something before I go. I will show you what you need to know as an Igbo person in terms of the Constitution and how you can use that to really, empower your people locally and Igbo people locally to know that they have powers within the current government, nation, to hold their governance to account and to now instruct them to go for self-determination, to have that inserted in the Constitution of Nigeria. So there's a lot of ways that we need to look at this. So let me give you an example of what I mean now. Before we go too far ahead, where is it? Beg your pardon. Okay, so I think I've got it. Let me just give me a minute. Oh, okay. If not, then I'll have to probably be doing it on another platform, in a different way, but I'll be back with it nonetheless. Okay, so I'm going to read to you section 14(2)(a), but what you will see is going to be in Igbo. It's going to be in Igbo language. I'm not going to attempt to say it because I don't understand the intonations and everything else. But what I will show you, I'll say 14(2)(a), and you will see it on the screen, and I will say what it is in English, but you will see it on the screen in Igbo. I will say this 14(2)(c) in English, you will see it in Igbo language. What we want you to do is to share that information to all Igbo so they know they have the power to hold their governors to account, because sovereignty belongs to them. And that's what many of us don't know. So to that end, let me just do this quickly. Hopefully this works. I'm literally doing this on the fly, so please do bear with us if it doesn't look like it's come off as intended, but let's do this. Let's see if it works. So we're gonna try, and hopefully it should work. But these things you have to be one has to be very, very clear about it. Okay, let's see that one there. 1 minute, so you will see come up. Okay, sorry. So this one here. Okay, so let me just make sure we got that absolutely right. Okay, good. Yeah, we did. We got it right. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I want you to know these words here. You will see the words here. Sovereignty. You are a sovereign. You will see come up. You are a sovereign. Okay, so now we're gonna make that work now. So now let's see what it looks like on the screen. I hope you can see it. It says you are a sovereign at the top, and then these are the words at the bottom here. So 14.2a, it is in Igbo. Ọchịchị bụ nke dị Nigeria bụ ndị ọchịchị sitere nakwa iwu na-enweta ikike na ikike ya niile. So in effect, what 14.2, I wasn't going to read it, but I read it automatically. Now I'm going to read to you what that means in English. Sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom the government, through this constitution, derives all its powers and authority. That's what I was saying there. And then, of course, the next one, 14.2c. A ga-ahụta na ndị mmadụ na-ekere oke n'ọchịchị ha dịka iwu siri dị ndokwa nke a iwu. So, that talks about 14.2c. The participation of the people in their government shall be in accordance with the provisions of this constitution. So that's what it means. I'm quickly going to show you what I mean. Let's go back again. Yeah, Mazi Nnamdi must be released as per court judgment. We call on the government of President Tinubu to demonstrate its support for democracy and separation of powers by ensuring that the judiciary complies with the court judgment. Well, not just the judiciary alone, but the government itself. So, so that's what gives them a flavor. That just gives you a kind of a flavor of what we're saying. But let's go back to this central figure here. So we're gonna pull away from there now. So let's pull away from there. So there we have it. We've tried to give you as much information in terms of the Constitution as possible, and we would like you to really get that information and share it to as many people as possible, because we need to be aware of that. You are a sovereign. Let me see how that looks like. I'm going to try and do this again. And I think it's important that people understand that. So we're trying to really empower people through sharing of knowledge. Be it Igbo, be it Yoruba, we believe that it is important that people begin to understand the powers they possess. For all too often, we haven't. We've just been assuming that, oh, you know, we cannot do anything, we are powerless and everything else. But of course, it is very important that we begin to know these powers and be able to use it to improve our lives, which is centrally the central issue here. So let me just do this here. So in closing, I want to thank you all for joining us. Please do share this broadcast. Help us reach as many people as possible. And we need to begin to really empower people. Sharing this type of knowledge is very, very important. So thank you for watching. You've been watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. As ever again, as you know what we do here, we'd love you all to subscribe to Citizen AY, hit the notification button, and of course, finally, give us the thumbs up, because that is the best way we can grow this platform, particularly with the information we're trying to share. The more we share that information, the more it reaches more people, and it gives us, a platform in which people can begin to take the information that they need, get the information that they need to be able to make informed decisions. Religion is not going to solve the problem. Knowing our constitutional rights will, and that's what we're trying to advocate for here. So, of course, we continue to call for the unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So thank you for watching. You've been watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. I'll be back later on. Thank you and bye for now.